All right, the second video is going to be multiplication. This is going to be a little bit more work, okay? So first thing you have to evaluate is whether you're going to use synthetic or long division. And I'm going to do these both ways because I don't know which way you're more comfortable with, the box method or the regular long division method. For the first problem, number 6, I look at this and I see what I'm dividing by, okay, my divisor. And it has a 6 here, which means I cannot use synthetic division, so I'm going to have to use long division. And the same thing goes for number 7, is I have an 8 there, so that means that I can only use long division, okay? So I'm going to set this up like a regular, so I'm going to use the regular long division, and I'm going to set this up like a regular division problem. So I have 6m minus 9 goes into, actually I'm going to leave a little bit more space here. So 6m minus 9 goes into 30m cubed minus 21m squared plus 24m minus 90. Okay, and I just make sure I have my cubed, my squared, my first power, and my 90. Okay. So first thing I do is I say, how many times does 6 times what would give me 30? So this is going to be 6 times 5. Okay, and then I have 1m here, so I need to have 2 m's to give me, so 6 times 5 is 30, m times m squared is going to be m cubed. Okay, so that's the first thing I do, is I divide 30m cubed by 6m. Okay, then I go to the next level, so I'm going to subtract. Okay, from this I'm going to do 6 times 5 is of course 30, and that's going to be m cubed, and then negative 9 times 5m squared is going to give me negative 45m squared. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 30m cubed minus 30m cubed is 0. Negative 21 minus negative 45 is negative 21 plus 45, which is going to give me a positive 24m squared. So you just bring that down. Now, just like you did with regular division, you're going to bring your the next place value over. So this is going to be plus 24m. Okay, and then I do the same thing. 6m goes into 24m. So 6 times 4, so this is going to be a positive 4, goes into 24, and m times what would give me m squared? Well, I need an m squared, so this is going to be 4m. Okay, so underneath, I'm going to subtract. All right, and I'm going to multiply this out. 6m times 4m, of course, is our 24m squared. That's what we were looking for. And then negative 9 times 4m is going to be negative 36m. Okay. So I subtract these. 24 minus 24 is 0. 24 minus negative 36 is 24 plus 36, which is going to give me 60m. And then what I do is I bring down my negative 90. Okay, do the same thing. 6m goes into 60. Okay, that's going to be positive 10 times. Okay, and then I multiply this by these two and put that answer there. So this is going to be 10 times 6 so this is going to be minus 60m minus 90. And when I add those, I get 0, so I have a remainder of 0. So my answer is going to be, so my final answer is going to be 5m squared plus 4m plus 10. Okay, so my next thing to do is I am actually going to do it by the box method, because some of you are more comfortable with the box method. So what we do with the box method is we set up a long box, okay, and I might have to keep going, and I just set up the first two, and I say this is going to be 6m minus 9 is what you're dividing by, okay? And this spot right here is going to be your first term. So this is going to be 30m cubed, okay? And the first thing I ask myself is, remember that this, when you do a box, it's multiplication, so we're actually doing reverse multiplication. So 6 times what is 30? Well, 6 times 5 is 30, and m, well, what should be here? This is going to be an m squared. Okay, and then what I do is I multiply down. Negative 9 times 5 is negative 45m squared. Okay, So from there, you know that this box here and this box here, I know that they have to add to be my term up here, this negative 21m squared. Okay, so I work backwards. Negative 45 plus what would give me negative 21. Okay, and that's going to be, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to add, so I'm going to add 45m squared here, and that's going to give me 24m squared. Okay, then keep going. 6 times, I know 4 is going to have to go up here because I know that these two boxes, this part and this part should multiply to be 24. I have one m here, so I'm going to have another m here. Okay. And then, so I know that since there's a 4m here, negative 9 times 4 is going to be negative 36m. Okay. And I put my other box in. Now what I know about this box and this box is I know that they add to my m term, which is going to be 24m. And so what I do is I add 36m, okay, and I end up with 60m. Okay, so I add whatever my term is plus that. All right, now we go back through. And I know 6 times 10 is 60, and negative 9 times 10 is negative 90. Okay, all right, and I know that these two boxes, this box here and this box here, they have to add to be negative 90, so this would be 0, which means my remainder is 0. So my final answer is just this, and so it doesn't matter which way you do it, this method or the box method, you're still going to get the 5m squared plus 4m plus 10. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Still the same thing with your division. I'm going to do the long division method and I'm going to do the box method. So first off, this is 8x minus 8 on the outside. And on the inside, I have my 24x cubed minus 32x squared minus 64x plus 65. So we go through. 8 goes into 24 3 times. X times x squared is x cubed. Okay, what do I put here? It's going to be minus, and I take this and I multiply it, each of these terms, by 3x squared. So this is going to be 24x cubed, so you should get the same thing, and then negative 24x squared. Okay, when I subtract those, negative 32 minus negative 20, so these are 0. Negative 32 minus negative 24 is going to give you negative 8x squared. You bring down your negative 64x. You do the same thing. 8 goes into negative 8x, negative 1x, or just plain x times. I multiply this, so it's going to be minus negative 1 times 8 is negative 8. X times x is x squared. Negative 1 times 8 is plus 8x. I add these together, I end up with negative 72x. So negative 64 minus positive 8 is negative 72. I bring my 65 down. 8 goes into 72 negative 9 times. Okay. All right, and then so I subtract, so it's going to be negative 9 times 8 is negative 72x. Negative 9 times negative 8 is positive 72. 65 minus 72 is going to give you negative 7. Okay, and so that's your remainder. So my final answer here is going to be, you're going to have your 3x squared minus x minus 9 minus 7 over 8x minus 8, because you always put your remainder over your divisor. Now I'm going to do the box method, skip over it if that's not the one that you're interested in. So again, I set up my box. Okay, on the outside I have my 8x minus 8. Okay, and here I'm going to have my 24x squared not there. Whew, my brain just stopped working for a minute. Sorry about that. So this is 8x, sorry. This should be 24x cubed should be in this box. All right. Let's do this again. Here we go. Sorry, I know you're getting patient. 8x minus 8. So this is going to be 24x cubed. So first thing you ask yourself, well, 8 times 3x squared is going to give me 24x cubed. Negative 8 times 3 is negative 24x squared. Okay, I know that these two boxes here, this one and this one, they have to be add to be my x squared term. So my x squared term is negative 32x squared. So to negative 32x, I'm going to subtract negative 24x squared. Okay, and what I end up with is negative 8x squared. So I know a negative 8x squared belongs here. Okay, then we go to, so then I go through, divide, 8 goes into negative 8, negative 1x times, or negative x times. I know right here in this next box, this is going to be negative 1 times negative 8 is positive 8x. Okay, I go to my next box. Now, what do I know about this box here and this box here? I know they're going to add to my x term, which is negative 64. From 64, I'm going to, so negative 64x, I'm going to subtract 8x. So I end up with negative 72x. So I put negative 72x here. Okay. Going back through, 8 goes into negative 72, negative 9 times. Negative 8 times negative 9 is positive 72. I'm actually going to change the color of that one. So positive 72. I know that this box and this box add to my constant term, the one that doesn't have a variable, which is going to be 65. Okay, so I'm going to do 65 minus 72, and that's going to give me negative 7. And so that's what goes there. So that's my remainder, and I still end up with this exact same answer. So that's long division. And I know that's kind of a pain, but you only have a couple, or you only have one to do on the test, so don't stress about it too much. Just make sure you know how to do it. Number 9 and 10 are really good candidates for synthetic division. There's just a couple things that you're going to have to look out for. So first off, things that you look for are, is my coefficient 1? So right here, this is a 1, and this one is also going to be a 1. So that one you can use synthetic division for. First thing is this is a plus 2, so I'm going to be dividing by negative 2. That's what I'm going to, or actually I'm going to be using negative 2 in my division. Okay. The next thing you have to look at is, if I look at my function up here, it is x cubed plus 2x squared. I'm missing my x term. And I have to have it there when I do division, so I'm just going to put plus 0x plus 3. So here, so next to the negative 2, I'm going to put my coefficients. So my coefficient of x cubed is 1. My coefficient, the number before my x squared, is 2. My x term, well, I'm going to put a placeholder of 0, and then my term that has no variable is going to be 3. And the first thing you do with synthetic division, you leave a little space between here and here, okay, is you bring your first term down, so it's going to be 1. And then you multiply. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. Okay, and then you add those. So you're going to add all of these. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. Negative 2 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 0 is 0. Negative 2 times 0 is 0. 3 plus 0 is 3. No matter how you do it with synthetic division, this is always going to be your remainder term. Okay? Now, your term next to that is going to be your constant term, so it's not going to have a variable. The term next to that will have an x, and then your first term here is going to be, in this case, is going to be an x squared. So what do I have left? It's going to be 1x squared plus 0x plus 0 plus 3 is my remainder over x plus 2 is my divisor, but I don't really need this part right here. So my final answer is going to be x squared plus 3 over x plus 2. Okay, last one of these. Again, really good candidate for long division. I'm going to use -1. I make sure that I go from highest degree to lowest degree. So the only thing I'm going to have to do with this one is I'm going to rearrange it. So my highest degree is x to the 4th. Then my x cubed is going to be 7x cubed. Then I have an x squared of 13, so 13x squared. Then I have a 15x. Then I have a 3. So what numbers go here? Well, my first term, the coefficient of my first term is 1. My second term is 7, my third term is 13, my fourth term is 15, and my last term is 3. And we just kind of go through and do the same thing. So I bring my 1 down. -1 times 1 is -1. 7 plus -1 is 6. -1 times 6 is -6. 13 plus -6 is +7. -1 times +7 is going to be -7. 15 plus -7 is going to give me 8. -1 plus 8 is -8. -8 plus 3 is -5. Okay, so first thing, I know that that is going to be my remainder. This right here is my constant. This right here will have an x. This one's going to have an x squared, and this one's going to be x cubed. And so I just write it out. So it's going to be x cubed plus 6x squared plus 7x plus 8 minus 5 over, and what did I divide by? X plus 1. And that's going to be my solution. Okay, and that's about it for